founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world. Was finally able to kind of figure this live stream out. Finally got the approved subs and views. Let's go ahead and get into it. And what we're going to talk about really quickly is how to make more by trading less. So if you're a trader, even if you're a day trader, primarily I speak to options traders, but even if you're a day trader, what I'm going to try to do is really to get you to understand the power and the situational trading and how you can apply that to your trading strategy, how you can kind of apply that to your edge and put yourself in a position to make a lot more money. So let me kind of give you a story, right, of how I really got to understand this. When I first started trading, what you're going to find a lot of times is that you're kind of like unaware that you can even make money like this as a trader. So part of our conditioning and our socialization was going on Miss Lady, was going on D Felder. So I'm still acting like I'm on Facebook because I'm really not used to being live on YouTube. But what you're going to find out is that part of your socialization and your indoctrination as a worker in this society is the believing that you have to be engaged in work every day, right? So even as a small business owner, you may go into a job or go into a particular area, right, in which you're able to sell your services, but you think I got to do this every day to make my money. So let's say you go into the repair, you become an electrician, you become a mechanic. You're doing something where you're self-employed, you're working for yourself, but you believe you got to go out every day and go make money. The challenge is that when you go into the trading space, your money doesn't necessarily come like that. So you're not a floor trader, or you're not trading for a firm where it's your job. So if you're trading for a firm or you're a floor trader, your job is to wake up and trade every day because you're employed by this particular company. So they want you trading every day because they're paying you a salary plus a commission. However, when you're trading for yourself as a retail trader, one of the things that I want you to really start to think about is that why do you believe that you have to be engaged in some kind of work every day to make your money? So let me give an example. I know a woman in Atlanta that did some business coaching for me. She was a consultant. And one thing she explained to me was that she talks to people all year about her business. However, she may only get a check 4 times a year. And so she had to condition herself to get accustomed to getting paid like that because she don't get paid every 2 weeks or every week or even every month, or she don't have a salary that she gets. She gets paid when she gets a consulting deal and she finishes that deal, then she gets paid. So she might get paid 4 times a year. Now she might get paid 4 times a year. She might get paid $70,000, $80,000 for that particular consulting work that she's done, but it's only coming 4 times a year. So she has to condition herself that her money's going to come like that. So it's not based around her working every day. It's based around how can she put herself in the right networks? How can she create the right relationships? So when somebody needs consulting in the area of business, she's one of the people that they call and she goes and tries to close that deal. One of the challenges that you're going to have as a trader is that you're going to start to believe that you got to be trading every day. You know what I'm saying? And so the challenge is that, so let me give you myself as an example. Earlier this week, I probably cleared a few thousand in the market. I can't make myself believe that because it's Monday and I've already cleared a few thousand, that I got to go back into the market Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because why? I'm thinking like a worker. And what I want to really try to help you do is, if you're willing to accept the help, is to see yourself as a situational trader, right? So GameStop is a situation. The market fall in the past 2.5 weeks, now it's kind of recovered, but that market fall that we had starting early 2 weeks ago was a situation. If you know how to play the downside of the market and you have enough capital sitting up, you can pull 50, 100, 150, $200,000 out of that scenario and you good. I came into this game once I really learned how to trade, telling people that I want to approach this the way I used to approach things back in the day. I never was the kind of person where I always had my face on the scene. I made my move situationally. When it was a time for me to make a move, I made a move and I fell back into the cut. And you didn't see me. You didn't hear from me. If you didn't really know me like that, we wouldn't have any contact. Then I waited for another scenario to make another move. And what I want to do is help traders understand is that you don't have to be engaged in the market all the time. I think one of the biggest challenges that a lot of traders have is that they've been taught day trading. And I'm not against day trading, but you don't have to day trade. And because they've been taught day trading with their own capital. See, when you're working for a firm or you're working as a floor trader, that's not your capital that you're trading. So if you fail, they just fire you, but it's not like you lost your money. When you're day trading with your own money, the amount of work that you have to do to be successful at that is normally over the head of the average person, which is why so many traders fail, because every day they're waking up trying to figure out what situation to get into, as opposed to being situational, right? So when you're looking at this GameStop situation, well, once you start to understand what's going on, then you understand how to position yourself and how do you take advantage of the situation, right? As opposed to trying to figure out how to trade every day. And that's really what you have to understand. If you get a chance this weekend, go watch Trading Places. At the end of Trading Places, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd took advantage of a situation. They were traders. They took advantage of a situation. And at the end of the movie, they were sitting back on the beach in the island somewhere, kicked back. Why? Because they was able to take advantage of that situation. It was never trading every day. And I want you to really understand that. So if you can get rid of this mentality that you've been taught as a worker, that if I make $5,000 in the market this week, I got to wake up the next day and try to figure out how to make another 5,000 because I got to always be engaged in some type of active labor. Understand that the goal really is to, how can I get enough capital to position myself to take advantage of a scenario to where I don't have to trade for an extended amount of time. And if you look at that snowflake play over the past 2 weeks, if I would have had, let's say maybe $30,000, $40,000, and I'm not trying to brag, but I know my abilities, I could have probably pulled $250,000 out of that situation. And then I would not have to trade for an extended amount of time. Why? Because there's no need for me to trade. I give the government they 30-something% or they 15%, and I get on out. And so that's what I really want you to understand, is that we have been so conditioned to think that we always got to be doing some kind of active labor or some type of active work, that even when we go into a scenario where the goal is to make money with your mind, we still take that old mindset into this new situation. And then what we do is we figure out, how can I become this old person in this new situation? And you got to really start changing your identity about how you make money. See yourself as a situational person. I make money based on the situation. So if the market is running a certain way or a company's running a certain way, I know how to insert myself in that situation, get my money and get out. If the market's going down, I know how to insert myself in that situation, get my money and get out. If there's a certain situation with a particular company and I understand what's going on, that's what we're doing with the IPO lockout course. That course is so powerful because it's $197 now. That course should be $1,997. Then it should just go up from there. But what I want you to understand is that that course is just based on situations. And once you understand the situation and based on the current time period that we're in, you can always utilize that. And then the more capital you get, the more you can extract out of the situation because you understand the situation. So we're going to take it back to sports. If they're running a certain kind of play on you, they set the play up the same way every time. Their job is to fool you, to make you think that's not what's going on, or they believe that even if you know what's going on, you can't stop it, so we're going to run it on you anyway. So I told people with GameStop, the hedge funds are going to keep running up GameStop and then running it back down. Why? Because people keep running in to buy it. So now that you see that, when they run GameStop back up, do you realize the situation? So I'm going to ask you the same question. We're looking at GameStop. I don't know what it closed at today. If they run GameStop back up, do you recognize the situation? Now, you may look at the options chain and say, you know what, I don't want to pay that premium. And I can understand that. Those premiums are kind of high because the market makers have hedged both sides of the situation, so they make money regardless of how it goes. But the question I want to ask you is that, do you understand the situation? And can you insert yourself in that situation and understand how to make money out of it, even if you're not trading live, if you're just paper trading? And then you can capitalize so much off that situation that you don't have to trade for another 90 days or another month, right? So you got to realize that the goal of this game is not to try to turn you into a day trader. I don't like day trading because I think it creates a lot of anxiety in people. However, if you are successful at day trading, or I don't have an issue with that, because the goal is to put you in a position where you can make money and you can do things the way you want to do it. But I'm not trying to push you into an idea that you got to wake up every day and look at scanners and look at charts every day to try to figure out how to get your money out of the market. The goal is to understand how you can do situational trading, how you can come in, insert yourself in the situation, get your money and get out, because that's really what this market is all about. Okay. Your job is not to provide liquidity to the market. You're not a market maker. That's not your job. So you don't have to be worried about those things, because people trade every day in this market because it's their job to provide liquidity for the market. If you work for Goldman Sachs and your job is to trade Apple, you got to trade Apple every day regardless of what the price is. Why? Because that's your job. That's what you've been assigned to do. Okay. How do I feel about crypto? I mean, you mean as a trader or as a long-term investment? So that's the question you want to ask yourself, is that how can I, as a trader, understand scenarios, understand situations, understand setups, make that part of my edge? And then by making that part of my edge, I know how to insert myself in a situation, get my money and get out. Let me give you another suggestion. What you may have to do is, instead of trying to figure out how to get all of your money out of the market initially when you first start getting on your trading journey, consider this, and I want to, just as a consideration, figuring out another way to create a capital base, whether you get a second job, you do some side jobs, you do some task rabbit, you do catering, and try to figure out how can you amass a lump sum of capital. Then based on what I'm teaching you, right, where you learn how to really manage you learn how to manage percentage first, then position size, you'll now have enough capital to go into a situation, get what you need to get out of the situation and extract yourself, as opposed to trying to, grind your money out of the market in a relatively short-term basis, day-to-day, weekly, things of that nature. And that's what I really want you to start thinking about. Because like I said before, is that looking at Snowflake, looking at Palantir, looking at DoorDash, which is still something that still I think is getting ready to fall, looking at Zoom. If you would have positioned yourself in Zoom right after that earnings play, and you would have had at the money puts, right, and you would have bought 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 contracts at the money puts, just going out on a weekly basis, not even a long-term 90-day or 60-day play, just a weekly call option on that Zoom. Because of that scenario, you would have been good for the next, 120 days, because those puts would have been printing so much because of how Zoom started to fall. But the question is, do you understand the situation? So that's what I really want to start encouraging you to do, is stop seeing yourself as a day trader. And I don't have anything about day trading. One of my most successful students that came out of my program trades on a day-to-day basis, because over the past few years, they were so worried about the volatility in the market because of people like Trump and some of the stuff that he was doing on Twitter. They had to train themselves how to trade on a day-to-day basis. But at the same time, I don't want you to ignore the possibilities and the value and the benefit of understanding how to take advantage of a situation. COVID was a situation. We're getting ready to go into a new situation where Biden's going to come on TV today. He's going to talk about his massive infrastructure bill. That's going to be a situation. How can you take advantage of situations as opposed to being a day-to-day grinder, like you're working for a firm as a floor trader, or as a desk trader? So hope that was valuable to you. Going to start doing a little bit more live videos because we finally have the ability to go live now. If you have any questions that are related to the options market or the stock market, hit me up in the comments. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'll talk to you later.